Guys, good evening. It's Angelo Christian. Thank you so much for watching our podcast today. Your nationwide lender. Appreciate all of you guys watching the show on the channel. We're scheduled for last Thursday, and I got tied up and busy with some stuff, so I'm able to shoot this tonight. So I wanted to come to you guys to talk about kind of what's going on the last week in America with real estate, credit, and lending. So appreciate all of you guys watching the show and the channel. I hope everyone's doing well out there. So I got a few different things I want to talk about tonight. If you guys don't remember, my name is Angelo Christian. I'm a nationwide lender. Hey Kevin, good evening. Thank you so much for watching the show and the channel. And we lend. We have all different types of programs that we do: FHA, VA, conventional, and then we do our weekly live show where you can kind of tune in, ask questions. We've been lending for over 20 years. And we've had the show since, I think, 2015, almost 70,000 subscribers, like 8 million hours watched. So, we come to you, every week to produce great content. And I got a lot of stuff that I'm going to be talking about tonight. And obviously, if you have questions you want to ask me, feel free. We just don't do the podcast. You can also call in and, or text us at 832-431-6331 to discuss your situation. I'd love to hear from you to see what we can do to help you out. So, got some stuff I'm going to be talking about this evening. And what I do is every week I kind of see about what's going on in the market and things that I want to talk about. And, again, if you guys have questions, you can ask questions too. But I have a couple topics that I'm going to be talking about tonight. Hey Brian, what's up, buddy? How are you? Thank you. So a few things I want to go over tonight. First one is the 5 cities that we found where you can still purchase a home for under 350 grand. I thought that's an important one because home prices have gotten so out of whack. Hey, thank you, man. Appreciate you, Mike, for watching. The 5 cities that you can purchase a home for still under 350k. So I thought that would be a good topic. And then we deal with a lot of investors. I'm going to be talking about the 5 things that, if you're a new investor, what you should be careful of, what you should be avoiding, and what we've seen in the last 2 decades working with real estate investors, some of the biggest mistakes that they've made. And then let's see, what else do we have here? So if you're a first-time buyer, the 3 most important things to consider. So that's an important thing for first-time buyers. So we do a lot of first-time buyer loans. So I thought that would be an important thing to talk about. And then the last one is the best places to invest for 2023 from the market research that we have found. So anyway, those are the things I'm going to be discussing tonight. And so yeah, if you guys have questions, feel free to ask any questions that you want. Probably the best way to start off is because let's just tie everything up with investments first, because we got 2 topics that we're going to be discussing with that. So, we deal with all different types of investors. First-time investors, people that have very large portfolios. And the thing is that obviously if you have the experience, you're well-seated, you're probably doing well, and you figured out how to make money in the business. But if you're new, and you don't have a mentor or guide or someone showing you the way, you can make a lot of mistakes, and it can cost you your credit, can cost you your money, relationships, all kinds of stuff. So there's 5 things that we talked about if you're new into investing that you have to be very careful of. The first thing that I want to talk about is you have to get an inspection done on the property that you're going to buy. Now I know that sounds like common sense, but you really have to. You see a lot of people, they want to rush, they don't want to get an appraisal, they don't want to get an inspection, and they end up buying a property that needs a ton of repairs that they weren't aware of, and they don't have the money to fix it. So definitely get an inspection. If you're going to be getting the loan, be careful for the closing costs, because the closing costs can be very expensive. Try to get concessions if you can get the seller to pay them, or get the closing costs put into the loan, because the closing costs can get very expensive depending on the state you're in, the type of property that you're buying. So Be careful for closing costs and seller concessions. Permitting is a very big thing. You just can't go in a lot of places and start demoing a wall or adding, onto the property or more square footage. In some areas you can, some areas you can't. But permits can get very expensive. It can also delay the process. So you got to be really careful, because in some areas, like especially if you're building the city, you have to get certain projects permitted. Not everything, but a lot of things do need permitting. Now, if you're building out in the county, maybe that won't be as important. But the other thing is that the location is very important for the project that you're doing. You have to really know, like, what are you doing, If you're doing Airbnb, does Airbnb make sense in that area? If you're doing long-term rentals, does long-term rentals make sense in that area? So just be mindful of that. And then if you're new to it, you probably don't want to do something that's very far away from where you live, because you may have to go there in case issues come up. If you live in Dallas, you want to buy your first rental property in Miami. It might be very difficult for you to manage that. So this is something that you have to think about, because when you're new, you probably don't have a property manager. You probably can't afford one. So I would say stay close to home in the beginning, unless you're partnering with somebody that has a lot of experience. So those are some of the biggest mistakes that I see, from rookie investors that you have to be very careful of. Well, having said that, if you get that part figured out, some of the best places that we've seen to invest in this year, so the top ones that we've seen is Oklahoma City, Nashville, Tennessee, Tampa, Florida, Orlando, Florida. Those have been the top markets that we've seen that are doing very well. Obviously, there's other areas that are doing really good. North Carolina is doing good. Georgia's doing really good. I think Georgia's a great state to invest in. So, but any of those markets are really good. Why? Because the price is still affordable. There's still a great, NOI, net operating income, on the deals that you purchase. The local GDPs of that area are getting better and stronger. Those areas are improving. A lot of jobs are going to those areas. So Tennessee's been on a huge uptrend the last 5 years. Obviously, Florida, Oklahoma is a great area. I think a lot of people are going to be moving to Oklahoma. It's really become kind of a neat city, and there's more upside value versus to areas like San Francisco or Austin that have somewhat gotten overbought. You got to find other opportunities where there's more upside. So those are some of the greatest areas that we've seen to invest this year. If you're an investor, we have we do all different types of loan programs: investor, flat cash flow, DSCR, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac. We can help you with the funding. If you need a investor type loan, you can give us a call or text us at 832-431-6331. And we'd definitely like to talk to you, see what we do to help you out. So if you guys have any questions, obviously ask me any questions that you want. That's why we're here. So, kind of going into, first time buyer now. And, there's a lot of different first time buyer loan programs out there. And one of the biggest things that we've seen recently in the last, probably 5 years is that a lot of first time buyers are getting pinched because you had rising home prices, now rising interest rates. So it really prices a lot of people out of the market. The last year, home prices collectively have come down by about 5 to 10%, so it's helped somewhat. But the thing is that, you got to try, and that's why we put this data together, the 5 places right now where you can still find a home under 350 grand, because I'm not saying you need to move there, but maybe you thought about moving to these areas, or people that live there, maybe they can buy a house there that's still affordable. When I was growing up, can you do a no-doc loan with 20%? Possibly. I need to understand a little bit more about the situation. If you could call us or text us, we're open on the weekend too. 832-431-6331. It is possible, but I got to understand a little bit more and kind of take a deeper dive into it. So, anyway, when I was growing up, 150,000 was perfect for a first-time buyer loan. Now you can't even find a $150,000 house. You're lucky if you can find 350. So it's changed a lot, you know. And I don't know if that's good or bad. I'm just, you know, telling you how it is. So the thing is that we can talk about what I think some of the most important things are when you're trying to get a house, get a loan, what to think about, and then we can talk about the top 5 areas right now that are still the most affordable. So when you're looking to buy a house and you're trying to get a loan, you've never done it before, the first thing you want to do is you want to get pre-approved to find out where you stand. You know, you don't want to have, you know, champagne on a beer budget, or, you know, underestimate yourself either and put yourself or your family in the wrong area. So it's important to find out, you know, get the expectations right with your lender to find out what you qualify for. So you might want to buy $1 million house, but maybe you might need 200,000 down and you may not have that money. So you need to get that consultation done so you can figure out where you stand and what your payments are, where your rates are, so you have the proper expectation in your mind to see if that's going to work or not. The other thing is that they look at your income, they look at your credit, they look at your debt to income ratio. So they look at all this stuff to determine what your eligibility is. So talk to your lender to figure out, you know, what, you know, where you stand. You can, and we're a lender, we can help you. You can, you know, we're a very good lender. We have awesome reviews. You can look us up online. Very happy customers. We've been doing it for over 2 decades. If you want to reach out to us, you can call or text our office at 832-431-6333, and we'd love to talk to you to see what we can do to help you out. So but very important thing, you know, is the first thing is location. Where's the location of the property? Does that make sense for you and your family? Does it make sense for the long-term value? You know, you don't want to buy something that's already, you know, overbought and then it can go down. Like if you pay $600,000 for a property, it goes down to $400,000, you're underwater. And you don't want to buy in an area that's, you know, not desirable for you and your family either, or that's not safe. So pick the right location. That's very important. The other thing is understanding that when you buy a house, that's just the beginning where the costs start. You have costs for filling out the house with furniture. There's maintenance. The maintenance cost is more than buying the house. So you got to know that when, and I'm not saying as a negative that you shouldn't buy a house. I'm just making sure that you understand that you have enough income coming in to support that, right? And you might put $10,000 down to buy the house for the loan. You got monthly costs to operate that property. You got lawn maintenance. You got, you know, insurance, property taxes, obviously all the utilities, trash. You got the bug guy, the pool guy if you got a pool, you know, the maintenance guy, this guy, that guy, and it all adds up. And you got to be ready for that, or nobody's probably ever ready, and you got to jump in. I'm not saying be scared, jump in and do it, because there's nothing wrong with owning a house, and it's the right thing to do because you can build equity, but just know that that's going to happen. And even if you rent, you have ongoing costs. It certainly makes more sense to own than rent. There's no question about that. And just knowing that you don't get blindsided that, oh, well, I didn't know it was going to cost me X, Y, and Z to maintain this property. Because it does. There are costs for it. And then obviously, you know, the home's price relative, there's a difference between price and value, right? So the price might be one thing, and then there's the value. Obviously, you want to try and buy a house that's, you know, less than or equal to the value. So if the home is listed for $1 million, you know, you want it to appraise for at least $1 million. Ideally more than that, 1.2, 1.1 if you can, because you want to have equity in the property, so you have potential upside. So these are 3 very important things that you want to be mindful of when you're buying a property. And not a lot of people sadly think about this, especially if you're just getting into it. So, and you know, because we've helped all different types of people that have very big real estate portfolios that have bought thousands of properties, and we help people that just got started. We try to give the people that just got started some guidance so they can not have to, get their feet too wet and make a lot of costly mistakes. So those are some of the tenets that we picked up over the years to help to pass down. And then if you know anyone that can, benefit or get value from this, share this content with them. Hey, look, this is what Angelo's talking about. If you're looking to buy a house, these are things you can be careful of. And there's a lot of first-time buyer programs. There's down payment assistance, there's grants, there's bond programs, and we offer a lot of those different programs. They have requirements, but some of them are really good. Some of them are very helpful. So don't forget about that. There is down payment assistance in a lot of the states the major states in America. And if that down payment assistance can help you, sometimes it can offer up to 4% for down payment and closing costs towards the purchase price. So in other words, if you're buying a $400,000 house, you could get up to $16,000 to help you for the down payment and closing costs. Now there's different types of down payment assistance, different type of bond programs and stuff like that, but that's the general idea about how it works. So and there are requirements for those programs, and if you want more information about those, you can give us a call or text us. I'm happy to talk about that with our team at 832-431-6331. So anyway, those are some of the things to look out for if you are a first-time buyer, or if you're not a first-time buyer. And just by the way, a definition of a first-time buyer is someone who hasn't owned a home in the last 3 years. A lot of people, they think, well, I owned a home 10 years ago, I'm not a first-time buyer. Well, actually you are. If you haven't owned a home in the last 3 years, you're considered a first-time buyer. So just FYI. And you're eligible for certain programs that, people that are not first-time buyers are not eligible for. So anyway, so these cities that we pulled from MSN that helped us to give us some information about the top 5 cities that are still affordable for first-time buyers. So some of them were, surprising, and some of them were not. Montgomery, Alabama is the first one, and probably one of my favorites. I think Alabama is an up-and-coming state in the next 2 decades where there's going to be a lot of opportunity. And, the average price over there is around $319,000 in Montgomery, Alabama. So that looks like a really good area. Syracuse, New York. I was a little bit surprised about that. The average price was $315,000. The Syracuse is, I'm not saying I don't like Syracuse, I'm just saying that I wasn't thinking it was going to be on the list. Toledo, Ohio, definitely not surprised about that. The average price was $304,000, so still can get very affordable properties in Toledo. Jackson, Tennessee, another one in Tennessee. You keep seeing Tennessee pop up. Average price was $296,000. So you're starting to see that. I don't know if you were paying attention to what I've been talking about this whole year, is that investors are shifting their sentiment to find more upside with real estate, and you're going to see these areas that were once called rural are going to become suburban, urban areas, and there's going to be infrastructure and development because the major cities have been built out, and they're going to be looking for other places like Alabama, like Tennessee, for investment opportunity. They're going to offer USDA programs in these states to help people to induce them to buy. Erie, Pennsylvania, another one. I haven't spent too much time in Pennsylvania, but that's on the list. All these places are areas that have homes under the average price. That's what it's saying, the average. Doesn't mean every house that's there is going to be that price. It means the average price is going to be under $350,000. Like in Pennsylvania, the average home was $295,000. In Tennessee, the average price was $296,000. So there's opportunities, guys, to find still affordable housing. And if we can help you, in any way, call or text us. We want to help you to get the loan. 832-431-6331. Yeah. Mike Mormel, I see hundreds of acres being trees. Yeah, in the last 3 years, a lot of development. I agree. Yeah, it's funny. We have a family property that's in a rural area on the lake in Livingston, Texas. And we probably bought it 20 years ago. My wife's parents, and when they bought it, there was nothing there. Now that whole road the main thoroughfare, there's Starbucks, there's Walmart, there's Panda, all that stuff's getting built out, and it's, I know it's a part of, evolution and natural development, but, you see that, and the home prices have doubled, and that's what happens. So that can happen to you. If you buy a house in Montgomery, Alabama today for 300 grand and 20 years is worth 700,000, it's not a bad deal, right? And that does happen. That's the thing about buying real estate. When you invest in it, the property values go up most of the time. Not every year, not every day, but over the long run, the average appreciation has been 3% plus. So anyway, like I said, if we can help you with anything, call or text us, 832-431-6331. We produce a lot of great content on our channel, Instagram, YouTube. Call or text us. If we can help you with any type of loan program, we'd love to hear from you, know about your situation, to get more details. And we do our weekly show too. So call or text us if I can do anything for you. Definitely looking forward to hearing from you and help you to better your situation, whatever we can do. For funding, 832-431-6331. I hope you guys have a safe, happy summer, and we'll see you guys next week. Take care and peace out. Okay, bye-bye.